Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
A target with a high gradient of entropy or change in entropy, either more or less entropy, is going to be somehow more attractive.
Yeah. It's kind of like a flashlight in a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just recently completed an experiment to test this instead of pictures with real sights.
Mm-hmm.
And we created an entropy bomb. It wasn't a huge bomb at these sites.
Yeah.
Like the old style remote viewing, we have an outbound experimenter randomly chooses a site and goes and stand there.
Yep.
And the remote viewer tries to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Of course, we all do this precognitively, so the site is chosen after the response is given.
Mm-hmm.
And half the time, our outbound experimenter had a bucket, and she poured 3 liters of liquid nitrogen, liquid air, into this bucket, and it would all evaporate after 8 seconds, and that is a small entropy bomb. And we then posited that an entropy bomb at the site would be, cause the person to look immediately, I should look there as opposed to over there, like a flashlight in a dark room. And you know what? It worked. And it worked significantly. And that is another piece of data that says entropy and the quality of precognition remote viewing are intimately related.
In other words, when you have 2 targets, one of which that are equivalent in every respect that you can tell, but in one of them you deliberately insert as you call it, an entropy bomb. A person goes to that location and creates an event that increases the entropy there.
Well, one thing we had to be worried about in picking these sites, we didn't want to have natural changes of entropy that would override things. So we left things out like power stations and those kinds of things.
Sure.
The sites were, frankly, pretty boring. But that's great because, like, one of the sites was a tree along a path. How boring is that? But when someone stood at that, and it's a real case, the outbounder, Lori is her name, poured liquid nitrogen into the bucket, and I'm doing remote viewing with Dr. Nevin Lance, and he says, well, I get a tree and a path and that's it, I quit. The remote viewing lasted 10 seconds or less, and that was precognitive, and he just nailed it.
And not only that, he knew when to stop.
He knew when to stop. That's a whole separate issue.
Yeah. But, so that's a very significant finding, and it suggests not only that we now know how to produce better targets and how to task people for targets where they're more likely to be successful in remote viewing, we're beginning to get a handle on how time works and how precognition might work as well.
Yes.